We'll call this May meeting for the St. Croix County Board to order at this point, if you would, please. The invocation tonight will be given by Sheriff Hillestead. And right after the invitation, if you'll remain standing, we'll have the Pledge of Allegiance.
If we would first just take a moment as we come up to this next holiday, Memorial Day, as we begin, just reflect upon those young men and women who have really sacrificed everything for us so we might be in this place tonight. So if you join me just in a moment of silence. Father God, as we come before you, and as we have this meeting tonight, we just ask for your guidance. We ask for your wisdom. We ask that you guide us into those decisions that are best for the communities that we serve, that we not be self-serving in anything that we do, but we remember that we are public servants. We just thank you for that wisdom that you have guaranteed to provide for us. We just thank you for that now in the name of Jesus. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And I would ask the clerk to call a roll call for us.
Dan Rabel. Present. Alfred Schrank. Present. Julie Spear. Here. Joe Hurchin. Here. Bill Peavy. John Borup. Here. Clarence Malick. Here. Steve Hermson. Here. Kenneth Colby. Here. Cindy Leonard. Here. Linda Lucky. Here. Shane Demuling. Here. And Laura Tammerdahl. Here. 29 and 2.
At this time, we'll skip by the administrative coordinator report, and I'd like to make a presentation, or we'd like to make a presentation tonight. So often we have the athletic teams here, but some of the students are not necessarily athletes, but they have good minds, and there's awards given to them for different things in their different schools. And tonight we have, I'm not sure, I think we have two. No. Do we have three?
Oh, 2 students.
Yeah, we have 2 students. There were actually 3, but one evidently didn't make it. So we have 2 students from the New Richmond School, and I'd like to have them come forward so that we can recognize their Wisconsin State title for future business leaders of America in the global business. Yeah, just come up to the front if you will. Yes, and Esther, would you take it from there?
I'd like to tell you that John Pepper, the 3rd member of the team, is not here because of a conference track meet. His other 2 people that are there are Max Kettle and Chris Kiesler, and their wonderful teacher, Jared, and I'm not sure, Hamdorf.
Hamdorf, yep.
And he will explain. They really did a wonderful job. They represented our state very well. They took a 1st place, which now entitles them to go to Anaheim, California, and compete in the Nationals. Would you take it from here, Jared?
Yeah, thank you very much. Yep, my name's Jared Hamdorf. I'm a teacher at New Richmond High School, and behind me are 2 impressive young men and 1 man that wasn't able to make it. And they do want me to point out, or else they'd kill me, not only are they just academics, but they are also athletes as well, since we had to collect Chris from tennis and Max from golf, and John had track tonight. So just in case there's any girls in the audience, they're athletes too. But But no, Future Business Leaders of America is actually the largest single student club in the United States with over 250,000 student members in all 50 states. They compete in numerous different competitions at the regional, state, and then luckily this year the national level in a variety of tests. The testing takes a variety of formats, including objective tests, case studies, business presentations, and business portfolios, both electronic and old-fashioned. This year we had 3 students that took first at both regionals and nationals in the category of global business, earning them a trip to Anaheim, California to represent Wisconsin and hopefully bring the first national title home back to New Richmond High School. So we thank you for having us. And any questions or anything? If you guys want to talk about what you did?
Something to say, that would be fine.
No, I can say something. I think we're really proud. We're kind of excited to go to Anaheim, California. I don't think there's too many other people that have made it to national level. A few years ago, 1 student made it. And we're pretty proud of our team for winning state and regionals, I guess.
Yeah, it's been a really fun time, like being in the club throughout these years, and we're just glad to come here and just be honored for what we've achieved, I guess.
Well, thank you very much. I think one of the things we should mention is one of the young men has the name of Kiesler, and his dad works in the Human Relations Department.
Also Human Services.
Human Services.
One of our department heads.
Yeah. So. Then we would have Chuck. If we could have the administrative coordinator report, we'd do that.
Well, good evening. Good to see you all here. You can feel the air conditioning in the building. The chiller is hooked up and working. Things are progressing on that front, as well as on the roof and on the facing of the building. You may have seen in the news that we are now experiencing some difficulties with the roof out at the Ag Center. That will probably require some work to be done sometime either this year or next budget year. That decision is yet to be made by Finance. You probably also saw in the news that the death in the jail settlement was reached. $1 million settlement. The direct cost to the county will be $250,000. Since we changed some of our policies a few years ago, we have that money in hand now in our liability account. Both the Finance Committee and the Public Protection Committee have reviewed what took place both with the settlement and with policies and procedures in the jail, and the staffs are working together to make sure we can avoid those kind of things in the future. We're proceeding here shortly. You'll be getting some communications from your department heads on the budget for next year. The first thing we usually ask them is to put together their capital improvement plans. A lot of that requires them to update the plans that they've had, modify them based on what's been in the budget for this year and what they see coming down the road. You should be seeing those on your agendas in June. They will have the information that I have, and they'll modify it for your review. The state budget is still not in good shape. In fact, it's worse now than it was originally. I believe it's over a $6 billion deficit. The information that we're getting from WCA still is that this is going to impact our human services area the most. But with that kind of a deficit, one has to expect that we're going to see some other problems come forward. On the more better news, Ron Kiesler was here a little bit earlier. He is coordinating for us the rollout of the NACO prescription drug card program. You'll start seeing some news releases on that, some stories about that. We're getting some inquiries from people who have read the paper or heard the news that we'll have a discount prescription drug card available. Officially, we should have that ready to go by July 1. But if you have anybody that is watching tonight or communicates to you back in your districts, feel free to send them our way and check our website. We'll look for the information. It'll be a very simple thing to get cards to people. As soon as we get them from NACO, we can start distributing cards, and they can use those at any number of pharmacies in the area. Pete will go over later in the meeting kind of summarizing the goal setting from April 24th. As you know, we spent about 4 hours working that day. We didn't get through updating all of the strategic initiatives. He'll touch on some of that. The 19-member board structure was visited again by the administration committee. They'll continue to look at that as their meetings go on. The next meeting, first week of June. You'll hear from Cheryl Slint here in a little bit. She's having a farewell in her office next Thursday, May 28th, from 2 to 4:30. Feel free to come down. I think her last day is actually the next day, but that's the day to come in and say goodbye. And we have been interviewing for her replacement. We had 7 interviews on Monday. We have 4 again tomorrow, and we're hoping to proceed in a way that we'll have a name before you at your next meeting. So, any questions? Okay, thank you.
Thanks, Chuck. You have had a chance to review the agenda. A motion would be in order on the consent agenda. I just want to mention on the consent agenda tonight, there is no mileage or per diem report available because you're not being paid for another week or so. I think that due date for payment is next week, and it isn't available yet. So it isn't here, but you will get it. It'll be in your mail after it's completed. So a motion is in order. John Thorpe and Elfie Schrank. You've heard the motion to accept the consent agenda as presented. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, the same. Okay, carries. Okay, the next thing on the agenda then would be a presentation from Cheryl. She asked for a few minutes here on the program, and we're glad to give it to you, Cheryl.
Good evening. I want to thank you for taking a few minutes tonight to allow me to give you a final report from my office prior to my departure on May 29th. I want to start by saying I'm very proud of the accomplishments my office and staff have introduced over the past 6.5 years. I believe that the Treasurer's Office is definitely in the 21st century and continuing to make technical advances in which the public and the taxpayers, I believe, truly appreciate. When I began as treasurer in December of 2002, the only way the public got public information regarding real estate tax information was by a phone call to our office or by coming in and using our public terminals for their private and business needs. In early 2004, we, along with the assistance of the Land Information Committee, introduced the St. Croix County Land Information Site on the internet. It's an internet site providing the public real estate information needing for transfers, taxes, property appraisals, and values. This has now grown further into mapping and more technical areas for the planning and zoning departments. This enhancement had significantly decreased the number of phone calls and physical appearances to our office. While we miss those people, this has enabled us to work more productively with the work at hand on a daily basis. In September 2004, the Real Property Lister's Office and myself transferred from our tax GCS DOS program to the Windows version. This was a truly great way for our office to speed up the tax collection process in January and July of each year. The efficiency of the Windows program enabled my staff and I to collect receipt of taxes in a more efficient manner, and people still comment today how nice it is not to have waiting long lines on those hectic days. Another area in which we improved technology and efficiency in our workflow was the rollout of the municipal tax software, which 16 out of the 35 municipalities use in St. Croix County. This software enables them to collect their own taxes using the sister software to our program. They in turn send the county treasurer a file in which I download the tax information into our system. Within minutes of my receiving the file and balancing with them, our system is up to date and the information is posted on the internet site. The municipalities that use the program have been truly satisfied and have also improved their process and increased their efficiencies at their offices. The taxpayers asked for the ability to pay the real estate taxes by credit card or an ACH withdrawal of their checking account. In early 2004, this process was added to our process. The county has a contract through a company called Same Day Pay, enabling them to charge and they collect the fees of the use of the credit card and ACH by the taxpayers with no cost to the county. This process is increased in usage each year, in 2008 and this past January 31st deadline being the highest usage ever. In 2008, we had almost $1 million come across into our coffers via those avenues. In 2003, with the year, the county treasurer began a ag use penalty charge out to the municipalities. This was previously handled by the local municipalities. In the past 6 years, I've billed out about $627,000 in penalties, with the county receiving 50% of that in additional revenue. Now, understanding the economy the way it is, this isn't headed in a positive manner at the present time, but with future growth and better economic times, this should take a positive motion in the future. These are just a few things that I've been able to do while in office for the past 6.5 years, and although this is what I believe needed to be done to become a more efficient county office, I've maintained always to be fair and truthful to those I've come in contact with. On a lighter note, I want to share just a quick story with you, one I'm very proud of. You need to understand that when you're the county treasurer, no one thinks you have a heart. You are the coldest and hardest person they've ever met. So I want to share a story with you, and I'm going to call him Dave tonight. That's not his real name. We're just going to protect his name as we need to tonight. But Dave's property was about to be taken in the 2004 tax deed process, which was 2 years ago. And he came to me with a job loss, some very social and personal struggles in his life. And most people know that I have a heart when they come, and we're willing to set up payment plans and such things, but he was really struggling and really didn't know what to do. With the assistance of his brother, I worked with Don Gillen in the Corp Counsel's office, and with some help out of Richmond at the Human Services office, we set it up so that his daughter had moved into him with his home, with him in his home and his family. The key thing here was that when I went to look at the property, we truly didn't need to take his property, okay? It wasn't worth a lot, and for me, it was one of those things that I felt if we took his property, we were just making a homeless person out on the street. I truly felt that way. So with the assistance of his family and in Human Services, we set up a situation. He pays $250 a month by the 15th of every month. It's always here by the 10th, and he truly, truly has appreciated it. In May, for the first time in the 2 years, he called, and he was devastated because he was going to be late. And he said, Cheryl, I don't know what to do. I hope you understand. I'll get the June payment on time, and over June, July, and August, I will pay you back the May payment. What do you say? I couldn't say no. I couldn't say, yeah, now we're going to take your property. Again, remembering that I am the hardest and coldest person you've ever met, I just explained to him how truly grateful I was for his efforts, and explained to him I was leaving at the end of the month, and he just said he wished me well, and he said, you've just been the greatest person I've ever worked with. You took the time, and I just think sometimes we just need to take that extra step. It's not always about doing the business on the black line. It's sometimes doing the extra steps and making it work. So I'm very proud to tell you that story because it really was a good thing that happened. I'm a believer that all things happen for a reason, and I believe that I was given this opportunity to serve you and the county board and the citizens of this fine county for a reason. I've met and worked with many wonderful people, and I'm truly grateful for these opportunities. As you can imagine, I have a few thank yous for tonight. Personally, I'd like to thank my staff, June Sather and Denise Boron, for working with me these past 6 years. It takes a great team to get things done in the roughest times, and they've always done a great job. The tax time wouldn't be efficient without Barb Berkey and Pat Gray, Louise Jeske, and Marilyn Antiel. These 4 ladies, 3 of which, I remind you, are retired, come in and spend time with us during the ends of those tax weeks of July 31st and January 31st. Barb actually takes vacation. I don't get it, but she takes vacation to come in and help, and she's done this for like 20 years. So these guys are great, and we couldn't run an efficient, smooth shop during tax time without them. I want to thank Cindy Campbell, County Clerk, and her staff. Our paths cross through our jobs and duties, and they're a great bunch of people to work with and be associated with. To our IT staff, led by Tom Boron, I appreciate their continued support and help with the advancements in our office that we've had these past few years and have been accomplished because of their assistance. I personally want to thank Annette Massey and Janet Smith for always being there to help me develop and grow my new ideas. Thanks to the Finance Department, led by Michelle Petrick, followed by Dennis, Kay, and Dana. I couldn't imagine working with anyone else on the numbers and projects we've done these past years. They're truly a great bunch of people, and I will miss them. To Art Tobin and the Building Services, you guys are the best. When we need our paper, when we need anything, you're just there, and we're very fortunate to have you in this county. To the Finance Committee, over the past years, you've supported me in my endeavors. You've given me the questions and answers I needed to continue to grow and advance in the 21st century, and I've always appreciated each and every one of you. To you, the county board members, and the citizens of St. Croix County, thank you for having the trust and confidence in me that has allowed me to serve you as the St. Croix County Treasurer the past 6.5 years. And last but not least, to my family. I have a son graduating this week, so it's really been a tough day for me. I just truly can't tell them enough how much I appreciate them. My husband, Dan, my soon-to-graduate son, Mitchell, and my daughter, Michaela, who's in the 7th grade. They are just the best support anybody could have. I'm sure our paths will cross in the future, and I'm truly blessed in knowing they have crossed in the past. I wish you all the best in your future progress that will be made for our county. Thank you, and God bless all of you.
One of the things that I slipped over was the appointments. We have no appointments for this month, so that's the reason I slipped over them. The next thing on the agenda will be the public health update on the H1N1 flu virus, and Wendy Kramer will take that for us.
Starting, thank you. April 26th is I received a call from the Wisconsin Health Alert Network, which is an automated calling system that alerts people, the health departments, about any unusual happenings in the state. So on Sunday, the 26th, I got a call from the Wisconsin Health Alert Network that there was a new influenza virus closely related to the swine flu that was circulating in the United States. Then on the Monday, the 27th, the Wisconsin Division of Public Health notified us that we would be having a teleconference, and so that afternoon they called us, we called together staff in our department to listen to this teleconference, and they decided that they would be providing us 3 times a week with a situational report on the, at that time it was called swine influenza, and then they subsequently changed the name to novel influenza A, H1N1. Very little was known Wisconsin Division of Public Health continued to have contact with the Centers for Disease Control in Atlanta, Georgia, and as the Centers for Disease Control in their surveillance learned more, they provided that to the state, who gave the local public health department guidance. So on April 28th through today, our health department activated the incident command system, and we had a Incident Command Post operational in the health department. And this included the incident commander, the public health information officer, and the operations chief. We met daily, developed objectives on what we were going to do for the day. And a lot of that, the majority of it was communications, communicating with our healthcare providers, the hospitals, the clinics, the infection control people, the schools and daycares. So the guidance that we received from the state, we forwarded on to them. We worked with Government Center, the administrative office, and Cindy then to provide information out to you also. We also developed, our public information officer developed information to put on the county website and the county intranet. And so we thank Annette Massey and the work that she did with us for that. We received authorization from the state to, they have a new Wisconsin disease, it's a disease surveillance system that the Wisconsin Division of Public Health, and there's been pilot projects going on with this across the state, and they are getting lab reports on communicable diseases, and they put this out on this system. Well, we previously had not had authorization to use that, but during this period of time we were authorized to do that and look at lab reports that went in from our local healthcare providers to determine if they were positive or negative. So then we would talk with our healthcare providers. As of today, there were 15 lab reports sent in from St. Croix County, and they have all been negative at this time. We also developed a phone bank, our communications, and we worked with emergency management or emergency communications. Casey Swetlake and Steve Bonneman were very helpful in helping us get this phone bank up. And this was for the public to call in and access information, that they could use that. We also met with Dave Osnes, who worked as our backup PIO to help and give feedback to Lori Diaby, who is our PIO. So that was very helpful to have Dave on board with us for that. And we received communications with the the Regional Department of Public Health in Eau Claire. And as I said before, there were changes continually in this guidance. Initially, as you probably remember, they said that when the governor declared a state of public health emergency, that if there was a case in the schools, that the schools should be closed, as did one of the schools up in Polk County. That was the initial one, but subsequently that guidance changed, and so, and luckily we didn't have to close any schools in St. Croix County. Let's see. I think some of the goals, we talked about it today. We met and we talked about, we did a analysis of what went well, what didn't work, things like that. So we'll have a report upcoming in the future. But part of our goals in public health was to reduce the outbreak and reduce that peak of influenza and disease, the burden of disease. Some of the things that we recommended to people was home isolation, especially in the schools. If a child became ill, we recommended that with influenza-like illness that they would stay home for 7 days, or from the onset of illness, or 24 hours after they became well again, whichever was longer. Some people, we got feedback from the schools that said, you know, it's really difficult for these kids to stay out this long a time, and so the guidance there changed and talked with the school nurses and says, well, use your best judgment on assessing these families and these kids in the schools. As of today, there are 787 cases of H1N1 influenza in Wisconsin, and that is the most updated information that I had. And Wisconsin has a large amount of cases, and that is because of the surveillance and the testing that is being done in Milwaukee and the Wisconsin State Lab of Hygiene as compared to other states. So if Minnesota might have fewer cases, but that's because they aren't testing as much as Wisconsin is testing. And now what's next? As the media and things have kind of subsided, as we know, pandemics tend to come in waves. So this might be the low end of the wave, so we don't know what's going to happen. Typically a pandemic will last a couple of years. So we need to continue our surveillance and stay prepared and stay ready in whatever we do. We can't become complacent at this point in time. And so we're trying to balance our messaging that we give to people, that it's not over yet, but what can you do? And again, the important messaging is to everyone, and I think to your constituents too, is when people talk to you about this, they can say, well, it's over, nothing to worry about. And you can say, well, you need to remember to wash your hands, cover your cough, and stay home when you're ill. These are 3 key messages that we can all give to everybody. And also stay informed, that they can check the county website, they can check the CDC website and other websites that they need information. And I guess I've received some feedback from some people about the information that was sent out through Cindy's office, and I thank you for that, Cindy. I hope people appreciated the information, liked it. I've gotten some feedback that it was useful, and if it was too much, please let me know. If it wasn't enough, please let me know, and be able to answer any questions that you might have.
Did you use any stockpiled supplies?
No, we did not. That was available. The stockpile did come in for Wisconsin, and I think probably the Milwaukee area might have used some, but no, we did not.
Since we're part of the greater Minneapolis-St. Paul Metro, what is the metro situation as far as the swine flu or H1N1 goes?
Well, as far as I know, they haven't done a whole lot of testing, so we don't know the full number of cases. I haven't heard a whole lot out of what's happening in the metro. So I don't know. They haven't been as active in their surveillance as Wisconsin has. And some of, being in the position that we are as a border county, there were some conflicting messages, as far as closing schools. And so we had to stay with what the Wisconsin guidance was giving us and versus what Minnesota guidance was. So sometimes that does present an issue.
You mentioned the medical supplies that we have in the event that this pandemic were to break out. Does that has a date time limit that's good, right? And what process does your department go through keeping that up to date? And should something break out, is there some way of, say, increasing the size of it if needed?
Hospitals have their hospital pandemic influenza plan, and they have a process to, order antivirals from the Strategic National Stockpile if necessary. In our health department, we just went through our masks and looked at them, and we needed to rotate that supply, which we decided these were surgical masks that we had on hand, and so we called Craig Nelson with the EMT service, and he came down and got some. So, that was a positive thing, that they could have those additional surgical masks on hand for EMTs if they had to transport anyone. Does that answer your question? No, not quite.
I was wondering does the county hold dated medicine?
No, no.
Oh, okay, thanks.
No. The other thing in your handout that Cindy, this is just an informational piece that you got in your packet on the table, right? Or it's to stress the importance of not becoming complacent. What would happen if we had a moderate pandemic to a severe pandemic? And you can read through this. It compares the 1968 pandemic, which is the moderate scenario, versus the severe, which is the 1918 influenza pandemic. It covers that, what could be expected. And this is based on a CDC software program where they get this information and this data from. And it localizes it to St. Croix County. So it's a good reference for you to have information to look at and compare to. Right now, we haven't had any deaths in St. Croix County related to this or any cases, so we're lucky right now. Any other? Thank you.
Thank you very much, Wendy. Next, we'll take number 3, the resolution authorizing continuation of self-insured workers' compensation program. And Darrell, would you bring that to the floor?
Move approval.
And Esther seconds it. So you've heard the motion and a second to the resolution authorizing continuation of self-insured insurance. And any questions on it? If not, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same. Motion carries. Okay. At this time, I'd like to ask the fair people, the fair board, to put their presentation on, if they're available back there at the moment. We're going to try to slide some of these presentations in between so that we don't have them all at the very end, okay?
Took me by surprise there a little bit. Good evening, Mr. Chairman, ladies and gentlemen of the board, and guests. Well, here we are again. For those of you who may not know me, my name is Gail Meyer, and I am Vice President of the Fair Board. I am pleased to be here this evening to present to you our annual report. This is our new fair book for the year. Notice its lovely pink color. See that? The dates for the fair are July 23rd through the 26th, which is Thursday through Sunday, and it's in Glenwood City. The theme, if you can hear me all right, the theme this year is fun in your own backyard. It's the theme this year and next year as well, because we have put out now a 2-year premium fair book. It has all the information that you need in here to exhibit or to attend the fair. It kind of gives you a rundown. It tells you the rules and regulations. We've got an entertainment schedule. You can find out when the tractor pull is, all those good kind of things. So, in fact, in here we have, this year, the Memories, who some of you are familiar with, will be performing for their 22nd consecutive year at the fair, and we think that's pretty good. The St. Croix County Sheriff's Department is going to have a canine demonstration. We'll have a battle of the bands, and the county talent show is always very, very packed. At our Tiffany Creek Special Events area, we feature a 100-plus hitch tractor pull, 4x4 mud races, and an antique tractor pull. I'm not quite sure how old a tractor has to be antique, but there are some pretty doozies there, let me tell you. What was that? Do we? Then I think I qualify. Okay. Always popular for the fairgoers are our petting zoo and our draft horse hitch show and mud volleyball. Any takers? I left some copies of these in the back so that if you're interested, you may take one. They're on the table back there. Look it over, see what's offered at the fair. Should you decide to enter your prize-winning pickles or your heirloom quilt, there are open class forms in the back of the book. If you want more information, there's also our website in there, which is www.stcroixcofair.com. The Fun in Your Own Backyard theme represents the idea that St. Croix County is one community, and you don't have to go very far or spend a lot of money to have fun at home. I should mention, too, that the St. Croix County Fair is a free fair. We don't have an admission charge. And that is free to all the exhibit buildings, the barns, all the show arenas, and the Croix Court entertainment. It's one of the few fairs in the whole state that do not charge an admission fee. There is a fee to park on the grounds, and that's per carload, not per person in the car. And the Tiffany Creek Events area also requires an admission fee to attend the special events there, like the tractor pull and things like that. Now, last year I asked you how many of you had been to the St. Croix County Fair. I was actually really surprised by the number of hands that I saw go up. Is there anybody here this year who attended last year for the very, very first time? No? Well, I hope you guys get a chance to do that. Take some time and the opportunity to see for yourself the 41-acre complex that is home to the St. Croix County Fair. Our 2008 fair was a huge success. The weather was almost perfect, and we anticipate that we had between 20 and 25,000 attendees, both as spectators and exhibitors. All the exhibits and entertainment and special events made for a fantastic 4-day event. Our judging exhibits that people bring to the fair to be judged, totaled 5,867. And that included 204 open class exhibitors and senior citizens who exhibited 1,798 items. Now, the junior fair exhibitors, those that are in 4-H and other organizations, those exhibits totaled 4,069, and 637 youth brought those exhibits. There were several departments that did have some increases last year. In the junior fair, photography was very popular, and the numbers there went from 546 to 596. But the biggest increase was in goats. I'm not kidding. There were 29 extra goat exhibits at the fair last year. The numbers jumped from 41 to 70. I know it. And in the open class department, we had increases in natural science, cultural arts, clothing, and home furnishing. Knitting and crocheting increased by 31 new exhibitors last year. Roger, get out your knitting needles. St. Croix County Fair can be proud of the number of youth who do participate. In addition to the Girl Scouts and Boy Scouts, FFA, and other organizations that exhibit at the fair, St. Croix County has 25 4-H clubs throughout the county. Now, as supervisors of this county, it is more than likely that you have at least one of those 4-H clubs within your representation. And I hope you take the opportunity to meet with these youth, to visit with them at their 4-H clubs, or have them come and visit with you in the very near future. The Fair Board is always looking for ways to help the profit line in our finances. Some of the things that we have done are increasing our rates where we house winter storage in our buildings, our facility user fees. We have increased the vendor fees for the food stands on the ground. Not this year, John. And there has been an ongoing stall drive by the Horse Committee that will raise $32,000 towards box stalls, which they hope to have completed this year. Over the years, the Fair Board has tried to set some goals for the future regarding many of the needs for improvements and enhancements to the grounds and the facilities. Little by little, as funds allow, we have been able to cross a few things off our list. Unfortunately, we are not in a position to tackle any major capital improvements this year due to budget constraints. However, as always, our needs are many and our funds are few. We continue with our long-term vision and our fundraising efforts of our master plan. Our positioning statement, Renovations for the Generations, spearhead these goals. We've had some success with this campaign, and we are determined to move forward with the opportunity to develop the best fairgrounds possible for the enjoyment of everyone in St. Croix County. The Friends of the Fairplex fundraising group have received pledges to date of $53,000, and we have 5 pledges in progress. The goal of 2009 is to raise $150,000, and it's going to be raised in other avenues. Additionally, the Friends of the Fairplex is in the process of exploring a community block grant that is available through the Wisconsin Department of Commerce and in partnership with Glenwood City to fund part of the cost of a multi-use building, which would be part of the Fairplex and located on the fairgrounds. In fact, last night, a motion to proceed with an application for this grant was approved at a special meeting in Glenwood's council meeting in Glenwood City. So we're very excited about that. The Fairplex Group also promotes a raffle. Over the last 2 years, $48,000 has been raised from the Fairplex raffle. Again, in 2009, we're going to have another raffle, but this year the prizes are going to be something that everybody can use: meat. We're going to have beef and pork, and I can't remember what all, but the tickets are only $5. And I'm sure if you're not already aware of the raffle, that Supervisor Ritz will be happy to inform you of your options. I want to thank our friends of the Fairplex Committee, and their efforts have generated donor commitments from several sources, including private donations, public institutions, and foundations. Our success in 2009 will bring us closer to our goal of creating the best fairgrounds possible and preserving the heritage of the St. Croix County Fair. Did I mention the rodeo? No. In 2008, St. Croix County Fair Incorporated took on the responsibility of hosting a PCRA rodeo on the fairgrounds. Last year was our first endeavor at this, and it was a very good success. We even made a little bit of a profit. We're looking forward to doing it again this year, and it will be on June 26th and 27th. For those of you in the know about rodeos, Bob Barnes is a rodeo stock contractor who is very well known throughout the country. And this is the same rodeo that is so popular in Spooner each year. There should be some high quality, high class rodeo for everyone to enjoy. This is just a brief itinerary that I put together that is also on the back table regarding the rodeo, and you can find out more information about that on our website as well. Putting together the St. Croix County Fair is a year-round process. Our board consists of 15 directors who, as a whole or divided into committees, handle every aspect of managing the fair. However, the St. Croix County Fair would not be the success that it is without all the people who help. The volunteers, the Extension Office personnel, Homemakers Group, 4-H Leaders Council, and of course, the St. Croix representatives to our board. They are Gene Reitz, Buzz Marsloff, and Alfie Schrank. Now, these gentlemen not only sit on our board, but they play an active and vital role for us, doing all kinds of things, and we so much appreciate them. Thank you, gentlemen, very, very much. And last but not least, by any means, you, the St. Croix County Board, is also responsible for the success of the fair. With your continued financial support, St. Croix County enjoys one of the finest fairs in the state. I've said this every year, and I'll probably say this as long as I'm coming here, but it's true. This great community event impacts people all over the county. It is a great experience that isn't offered at any job or school. It's a place for people to meet and socialize, to entertain and be entertained. What you help provide is an opportunity for all youth and people of all ages in our county to showcase their talents and their accomplishments and to be recognized for a job well done. On behalf of the entire Fair Board, I would like to thank you for your continued support and invite you to join us for some fun in your own backyard as we celebrate this community event, the St. Croix County Fair. Thank you.
Anyone have any questions for Gail? No? If not, thank you very much for your job.
One last thing. On Monday, July 13th, I would be delighted if a member of this board would tour the county with me and help me judge all the fair signs that are going to be put up by the different 4-H clubs and organizations. So if you would be willing to do that, please drop me a line, let me know. Be happy to have you. Thank you.
Okay, the next item of business is a resolution authorizing application for grant funds to improve water quality of Willow River located in the town of Silen. And I'd ask Gene Retz to bring that to the floor.
I move to bring this resolution to the floor with a little explanation. This is for a farm up in Silent Township to put in a manure storage system, and that their land drains directly into the Willow River. So, move to bring it to the floor.
Okay, Buck makes a second to that. Any questions? Bill?
Yeah, on the writing, the second to last whereas, it says whereas Goodrich Farms will sign a cost share agreement with the Land and Water Department, Conservation Department to receive the grant. It's not clear here who's receiving the grant. Is it the county receiving the grant or Goodrich Farms?
I call on Bob Heike to give a little explanation. It's actually to the landlord.
The Land Conservation Department is applying for the grant. If approved, we'll have that money available. The landowner then will sign an cost share agreement with us once the project is approved, in place and meets all specifications. Then that landowner then will get paid.
So the money goes. So the money goes first to the county.
The county.
And then to the landowner,
yes,
if he puts up the money, if he puts up his side.
Yes, yeah, he's going to have a contribution into the project himself.
Okay, which brings up the next whereas. Both on this resolution and the next one having to do with the town of Troy, it says and or. Whereas the Federal Natural Resources Conservation Service and or Goodrich Farms will provide a 30% contribution. What is that arrangement?
Okay, they are working with the federal government, the Natural Resource Conservation Service. Also, they can receive money from the federal government on part of that 30%. This is how this works. What we're asking for is state money. They also can go after federal dollars. You can match federal dollars with state dollars. You can't match state dollars with state dollars. So that's why they have been working with the Natural Resource Conservation Service on that part of that 30%. If they get that money, that would be a part of that 30%. They're not guaranteed that.
And what kind of arrangement is there? Is it not resolved? Is that why we have no paper about that arrangement?
That would be another agreement that they would set with the Natural Resource Conservation Service.
But that would be direct rather than through the county.
Correct. That money doesn't come through the county. That would be separate.
Okay.
Any other discussion?
Might explain there's no county money involved.
Okay, you've heard the motion, you've heard the second, you've heard some discussion. All those in favor of this resolution declare by aye. Aye. Those opposed, the same. The motion carries. Well, we're there. You may as well stay, Bob, because we're going to take another one. The next one is a resolution authorizing the grant funds for water quality of Lake St. Croix in the town of Troy. And would you bring that to the floor?
Yes, I will. I move to bring this application for grant funds to improve the water quality of Lake St. Croix to the floor. It's actually in the town of Troy, and I'll have Bob explain.
Buck makes a second, you second that motion. Okay.
What this is a very severe erosion, erosion site leading right down to the St. Croix River, and if not taken care of, it's only going to get worse and worse and worse. And so we've been working with the folks from the YMCA to try to take care of that. And that's what this is about again. Same process as the last resolution that we just talked about.
Any other questions? Steve?
Is this got anything to do with the runoff from the
Rivercrest?
with Rivercrest?
It may have started, Steve, it could have had started before. The construction of the Rivercrest may have accelerated it and made it worse.
So this is basically coming from that tunnel that was put underneath County Road F.
Yes.
Is the runoff coming from there?
Yes.
And so how does this impact the contract that the Y has entered into in sharing in all expenses, dealing with that, with the tunnel and the land preservation or the excavation work that was supposed to go into making sure that there were no problems with that tunnel and the runoff coming off
Yeah,
of that?
yeah. I'm not sure if it was a tunnel or part of the construction from the school itself that accelerated some additional water coming through that area. But I'm not sure of the arrangements on any of that. What we're trying to do is take care of a problem.
So again, this is not county money going into this.
No county dollars going into it, Steve.
Mr. Mallon? You got a question?
Is it perfectly clear that no one suggests that the highway department made any errors leading to this washout? Just say yes.
Yes. Okay, you have a motion on the floor, you have a second. All those in favor of this resolution declare by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, the same. Motion carries.
Well, I've been asked to come here and to wrap up what we started on April 24th. I certainly learned a lot about facilitating a meeting with county board members and department heads, and we didn't get quite as far as we'd hoped, but I think we made some progress. I know we made some progress, and at the direction of the administration committee, I contacted the department heads that were not able to address the group that day, and were able to finish up updating the initiatives. Now, as I understand, a couple documents. You've got a report, kind of a report summarizing the meeting. The green sheet. Oh, okay. All the green sheets. Thank you. And this sheet, which is showing the updated 2009 strategic initiatives. And then, were they given this? No. Okay. This one? Yeah. And then there's this sheet. I might draw your attention to this sheet, which summarizes the work that we had done. And really it boils down to the fact that we've completed 5 of the 18 initiatives that we had established in 2008. We've maintained 10, and we've revised 3. Which leaves us with 13 initiatives then for 2009. And I would be happy to go into, if you want to review the ones that were revised, just so you understand those, I could draw your attention to the first one. And we did spend a fair amount of time on that. And the initiative then that is replacing the old one as you can see, is the county board will agree to a shared vision for the nursing home operation and set a target appropriation by the fall of 2009. Now, and then an action item underneath that would be to have the Health and Human Services Board work on developing a plan and then present that to the board. Yes.
Actually, what it says here is August 2009, and I was wondering who came up with that, whether the Health and Human Service Committee said something about that.
That was something that was suggested in the meeting, I believe.
Well, there were various months. I suggested fall, and Mr. Peterson suggested a different month, and this lies somewhere in between, so it could be said to be a compromise, but I think it would be for the Health and Human Services Committee to make that decision, because they are the ones who are going to have to do it.
Anybody want to address that?
What's going to end up happening is you'll set an appropriation as part of your budget process, and it'll be part of the normal process, which is in the fall. I'm sure that the Health and Human Services Committee will probably have an idea in August. It'll end up getting refined, sent to Finance, reviewed by the board ultimately. So whether it's August or September, it'll be November, you'll have a number.
I really would like an explanation of what the first sentence of this initiative, number 1, really means. County board will agree to a shared vision for the nursing home operation and set a target appropriation by the fall of 2009. What exactly does that mean?
I don't want to put words in people's mouths. I could give my understanding of it, and I'm looking at Fred Johnson in the back of the room. My understanding from the conversation that we had was a shared vision has got to do with possibly the number of beds, the way the facility would be operated. Fred went into a fair amount of detail about different scenarios that you could take a look at, or that the Health and Human Services Board will look at, and to reach some type of a compromise. So that's probably the best understanding I have of it as a shared vision. Sorry to put you on the spot, Fred, but do you want to address that, or any more detail on that shared vision?
I think you did a nice job. The only other thing that I would add is, as we have over the last probably 3 or 4 years talked about various options with regard to the nursing home and the operation, everything from an operational assessment where we were able to cut some of the operational deficits by as much as $400,000 to $500,000 that happened in 2005, to talking about a request for proposals, where are we going to lease, partner with other entities, sell the facility. We waited until the referendum question was answered, and instead of doing more detailed analysis on operations, on options, is try to come up with what is a vision that the county board can agree to, that we can then move forward and operationalize some strategic planning that would also include likely at some point a review of the market, as well as bringing back as much detailed financial analysis for this board to look at. So again, looking at who are we going to serve, how are we going to serve the community with our nursing home, and then what are the financial impacts, and is there the market out there to support it. That's, I guess, where I would prefer to go, get that information to the county board and get some sort of a sense of agreement before we continue to talk about, what would it cost to run a 50-bed facility with a 20-bed assisted living. We've done that type of analysis, but it doesn't seem to be grounded in long-term planning to take those pieces and move it forward into something that hopefully everybody can agree to. So that's really what we're hoping to do at Health and Human Services, and we'll have more discussion on that as early as this Friday when we have a regularly scheduled meeting.
Greg? who's going to do this vision? When are we going to do this? It's not them, it's us. It's got to do this.
Bring it back to you is what we're going to do.
Huh?
They're going to put it
Why should they bring it to us? It's our vision, not their vision.
Because we have to tell you what the Health and Human Services Board is thinking, and then we bring it to you.
It's our vision. Is it our strategic plan and our vision, or is it theirs?
My understanding is that this is the board's initiative.
Right.
But
So
somebody has to bring the information for the initiative to this board.
Well, when are we
As
going
a-
to talk about this
as a
vision
whole.
and initiative?
That's up to them when they get this information put together.
Well, it should be a workshop of the county then.
Mr. Peterson.
Thank you. As you recalled, at our 2008 goal setting.
We don't.
No, okay, well, anyway, we had a goal setting in 2008, and this was got to be a little upsetting for me, because a whole year went by, and come November, we hadn't reported yet. So at our goal-setting session in April, I was a strong advocate for putting a timeline out where the Health and Human Services Board has to report to the board. Now, what I'm hoping will take place, keep in mind, I have never had any experience with Health and Human Service with a meeting specifically focusing on, and only that item, on the nursing home. And I'm going to try to advocate on Friday that we set aside a day of meeting to address the issue so we can bring something to you in August that you can focus on. I really sincerely believe the Health and Human Service has a leadership role to bring something to you. And I've been very frustrated that it is awfully slow in coming. We haven't brought you anything. I have a vision for what should be done right now. Not that it's a good one, but it's there.
Any other questions or any other comments?
Yeah, Sharon.
Pardon? Sharon.
Thank you. I'm concerned about how this revision is worded, because I want to make certain that by approving this document, we are not, as a county board, agreeing to whatever the Health and Human Services Board brings back to us. Am I correct in that? And will somebody please answer that question?
I'll answer it, but generally speaking, that's how all choices that come to the county board are, that it ends up being the county board, not on the recommendation of a parent committee. But it doesn't mean the county board always approves it, obviously.
Thank you, Chuck, but this does say that the county board will agree.
That's the goal. That's the initiative. That's what you're shooting for. That's not guaranteeing that you will agree.
Sharon, if you read the action item says that we will develop a shared vision. We'll develop that shared vision with the Health and Human Services. If we disagree with it, we're going to have trouble sharing it.
Thank you.
Alfie?
Thank you. The question I have is on initiative number 3, and that was, we put in there, continue to provide quality service to older adults and persons with disabilities through the Department of Aging and Resource Center in the 4 key areas of volunteers, programs, nutrition, and information and education. I thought that would be an ongoing goal and not just a year goal.
And I remember, I think that was something you brought up in 2008. And I guess my answer to that would be that by the development and the ADRC is really taking that work on, and through the work, and actually we're working with them on some strategic planning to kind of focus on their operations for the next year. They will be doing just that. So, you know, in actuality, it has been completed. You know, that initiative has been completed, but it's not forgotten about.
Does that answer your question? Any other comments? You have other things to go on?
You know, the only other things would be to take a look at 17 and 18, I guess, just to make sure that.
On initiative number 4, it says that we completed reducing the operating expenses countywide by 5 to 10% in the 2009 budget. That's true, but it seems to me that both in fact and in our as far as creating a new target, we must be establishing some kind of reduction, further reduction for this coming year, and that has not been addressed either as a new target or initiative or to replace the old target. And I think we should do that. We've already been talking about, had a memo, I believe, circulating, establishing a new target, so why not recognize that?
Bill, I assume that will be done when we do our budgeting. We don't even know where we're going to start at the budgeting yet, and that should show up in the budget numbers that we put together.
I'm sorry. Yes, but it seems to me that if we're establishing goals, unless we're just establishing, going over what has been done and not talking about establishing new goals, we should establish a new goal here.
If we look at that, though, it shows that this goal was completed.
Correct, and I would agree with that. And so we could establish add a new goal to the end of this list if necessary.
Again, I feel we'll do that when we do the budgeting process. Darrell?
I really don't want to prolong this, but we have already talked in finance in terms of the budget instructions as they begin to go out, that this year as a planning tool we want to use a focus on a reduction of the levy impact department by 10%. So if that is considered a goal, so be it. We're just using it as a planning tool.
Okay. Anything else?
So that, yeah,
I think that answers it.
Did you? Okay.
Yeah. Are you done now?
It's up to, I mean, we can discuss the ones, or if people don't have any other questions, I don't have to go on.
If there are no other questions, we're gonna call for the vote. You have we need a motion on the floor to accept this, and Buck makes that, John Borup seconds it. A motion is made and seconded to accept this strategic initiatives as it's presented by Pete here this evening. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, the same. Aye. That was about three, 4 ayes. Carried. It's carried.
Okay.
Okay, then we'll ask Marie Wetzel to come on and give us her part of the program. Marie is with the Extension office in Baldwin.
Okay. Here, go ahead.
Forward, back. Got it. Perfect. Except more importantly is my handout sheet.
Good evening, everyone. I asked Pete to stay here and join me since I knew he was going to be on the agenda tonight as well, since I have a little bit of a cold, so he's going to help me do some of the presentation just so that I don't lose my voice or start coughing halfway through it on you. We want to share with you a little bit of information about the St. Croix County Extension Office, and the presentation is going to be a little bit different than what you may have seen in the past because I asked all of my colleagues in the office to give me some information to share with you so that you could get the big picture of all of what our office does. As you can see, Cooperative Extension, the mission is to help people in Wisconsin apply university research, knowledge, and resources to meet their educational needs wherever they live and work. So that's our goal, is to bring all of that knowledge from our UW land grant system right here to St. Croix County to the people that we serve. And you can see that Extension is really a partnership in education. There are lots of different funding sources that come in to bring our Extension office to you here in St. Croix County. About 38% of the funds come from state funds. The county puts in about 29% of the funds. And then there's two different areas of federal money that come in. I'm not exactly sure what the other part is, but 8% comes from there, and then co-op puts in about 16%. And then there's some private money that we get from fees, gifts, and grants. The first program area in our office is Agriculture and Natural Resources program. And in response to requests for educational programs on transferring the farm to the next generation, Lee Milligan, our ag agent, has developed an annual farm business arrangement and estate planning program. This involves two different types of program, one with some basic information and the other one with some advanced information for the people looking to do this. These programs involve UW Extension farm business arrangement specialists that come from Madison to help teach the program. He has also developed educational programs based on requests related to improving producers' farm financial management skills, and the other efforts include educational programs related to farm law issues and a special program for the Western Ag Lenders Association. Another large program that he works on is dairy modernization. St. Croix County dairy producers generated over $80 million of farm income in 2007. This represented over 55% of the total farm income in St. Croix County. In recent years, there's been an emphasis on dairy modernization educational programs, as dairy producers have been seeking information on low-cost parlors as a means to reduce knee, hip, and back problems associated with milking in a stanchion. If any of you have ever been to a barn, that makes it a little bit difficult, and so this is kind of taking care of some of those health issues that have taken place. And so it makes it more desirable then for the next generation to want to continue in farming with doing some modernization. One aspect of the dairy program efforts have focused on providing educational opportunities for dairy producers seeking to upgrade their milking and housing facilities for the animals.
Okay, we'll give Marie's voice just a little bit of a break here. Ruth Hilfiger is our horticultural agent, and she has had quite a bit of experience in working with locally produced food, locally produced crops in the last 2.5 years. And recently she held a couple of workshops where they had over 80 new growers come in for information on how to start a business, specifically with fruits and vegetables. So really tapping into something that I think all of you have seen in the news lately. She's also offered a number of nutrient management workshops for commercial and community turf managers. She advises 60 volunteers who grow 2 tons of food at the New Richmond Community Garden. And that food is distributed to 27 locations in the 3-county area. She also works cooperatively with a horticultural agent in Pierce County. Pierce and St. Croix County have a cooperative agreement. We provide some help to their commercial horticultural interests, and they provide some help to us for home horticulture. And I can't tell you how many phone calls we get this time of year. It is quite a busy area. Just a little bit about some of the work that I'm doing in community development. I think most of you are familiar with the strategic planning and the work that we've done with the county board. Also with Health and Human Services, and I just found out tonight that I'll be working with Birth to 3 and Public Health, and also with the Aging and Disability Resource Center coming up in a few weeks. Next, Okay, and then just another area that I've been working quite a bit on is on sustainable communities. The Western Wisconsin Working Lands Group is really looking at, it's a bit of a grassroots effort. There's a lot of interest out there about preserving working lands, those lands that are agriculture, crops, and forest land. And when you consider that agriculture in St. Croix County generates $500 million of economic activity, that's $500 million, and those are 2007 numbers. I think anybody would be interested in making sure that we take a look at that industry and make sure that it's still performing as well as it can. And the folks that are involved in this program attended a workshop at their own expense. They went out east and they studied a number of farmland preservation programs. They're bringing those tools back to Wisconsin. Some may work, some may not. But in cooperation with the state and the State Working Lands Initiative, they're hoping to at least put something together to preserve farmland and working lands. The other piece that I'll mention is energy conservation, energy management, working with the Energy Committee to finish up a strategic plan. I'm also working with other colleagues, specifically in Chippewa County. We put together a municipal energy planning workbook, and that workbook is really a series of questions and an assessment that looks at better decisions, hopefully within a region, and especially as we talk about renewable energy. It's more of a decentralized system of delivering that energy, and it would take cooperation on a regional level. Just a little bit now, switching gears about the family living program. The main focus of the parent education program that Joanne Sprain, our agent, works on is to work with schools and other agencies to reach the parents of adolescents. Partnerships in prevention science found that a return of about $10 for every dollar spent on implementing the Strengthening Families program. So again, getting some return on that investment of working with families, saving $10 for every dollar that you invest. Extension also provides one-on-one financial education as a part of the drug court program. A follow-up evaluation was given to drug court participants. 100% of the respondents said they set goals, 80% use a budget, and 100% have reduced past debts. So I think you'll agree that that has been a very good partnership and a good success story in working with some of those folks in the drug court. And now I will hand it back over to Marie. I'll get out of your way.
The Nutrition Education Program in St. Croix County is a federally funded program to teach low-income families how to plan and provide nutritious foods for their families. This slide shows a family at WIC where they see low-income parents with children under the age of 5. They also work with families in the elementary schools to help prepare healthy, low-cost meals for and the family working together as a unit. Another part of the Nutrition Education Program, UW Extension chairs the Food Resource Collaborative, which works with other agencies and volunteers to make sure that there are adequate supplies for healthy food and for the hungry families of the county. They work with the Venison and Protein Projects, the Moolah for Milk campaigns, the 12 Months of Giving programs, and others. Empty Bowls is another effort in 5 communities where the nutrition program has trained hundreds of youth about local hunger. The nutrition educator also works with a core group of adults with mental challenges to help them learn to be more self-sufficient by preparing some simple meals. Now we'll jump to the 4-H Youth Development Program. In St. Croix County, we have a very strong traditional community club program with about 734 youth and the 270 adult volunteers, which makes it one of the leading programs in the state of Wisconsin. We really rely a lot on our volunteers to share their expertise and knowledge with 4-H members in a wide variety of projects offered each year. Last fall, we had a wonderful opportunity to recognize Margaret Dornick as a 60-year volunteer leader in the St. Croix County 4-H program. She was recognized not only by our county, but she served 17 years on the state 4-H Plant and Soil Science Committee and was recognized on the county level, but also by the state for that outstanding dedication. And I actually met Margaret when I was getting my master's degree in college. I was serving as the coordinator for our Action Center at State Fair down in Milwaukee, and I couldn't believe this volunteer gathered up all of these. She had some water lilies and some projects, and we were having a large pond down there at our Action Center, and she got all those water lilies in her 5-gallon containers and put them in their car and drove all the way down to Milwaukee to State Fair to help make that a part of the display that we had for all of the visitors to the State Fair in Milwaukee. To see her dedication to the 4-H program, and then now working with her and seeing what she has done here for the program in St. Croix County. The other interesting thing that I found out is that according to the independent sector, which we look at for a lot of our research information, it's estimated that the dollar value of volunteer time is about $20.25 in 2008. So if that means that each one of our volunteers in the program donated only 1 hour of service, that would mean almost $5,500 worth of money that's coming in for the volunteer time that they give. But of course, as a 4-H agent, I know that they don't give just 1 hour of service. Many of them do 10 or more in a week or a month that they're involved in the 4-H program. The other thing that I've learned is that as we work with 4-H youth, throughout the state, actually, there is a need to keep up with the technology and all of the different things that youth are learning about and doing. And so one of the things that I've really worked on is increasing how we use technology and making our information accessible to not only the youth in the county, but anybody who wants to learn more about 4-H. I've developed the UW Extension 4-H Youth Development website, and I'm able to share a lot of resources with our 4-H volunteers through that website, and also direct them to other resources to make their jobs a little bit easier, because the other thing we know is that families' time is just increasing as well, and so they don't have as much time to find the information that they need, and so helping them find some of those resources that we can use. And we continue to hold programs and events to strengthen those life skills such as communication, planning, and organizing, and to think about how we reach new audiences. And just to sort of piggyback on what Gail told you earlier, I did some research on our top project enrollments over in 2008 in the 4-H, or 2009 in the 4-H program, and what she said is true. The top enrollment in our county this year is photography. We have about 258 members in that project this year. And a close we have dairy is our largest animal project. There's 132 members. Celebrate Art is kind of a variety. If kids aren't exactly sure what part of art they want to be in, they are in that project with about 117 members. And then woodworking has about 109, and drawing and painting has 105. So we have about 4 or 5 different projects that have over 100 members in them, and so it's really great to see the variety, and then helping people understand that they don't really need to be in animals and live on a farm to be in the 4-H program, which is one of the myths we often hear about. We do have a couple of clubs here in Hudson that have been growing really a lot this year, so it's been great to see all of the kids that are learning a little bit more about what we do in the 4-H program. Our entire office wanted to thank you for your support that you give us throughout the year, and you see us at a variety of different ways, but this way you could get an opportunity to see all of those that weren't able to be with us this evening. Are there any questions?
Thank you, Marie. At this time, I think we'll take a break. Some of the old men here have to take a break. Pardon me. Prevailing wage law. And I'm going to ask Dick King to bring that to the floor.
I'll bring that to the floor, opposing proposed changes in the Wisconsin prevailing wage law.
Microphone, please.
They didn't hear that, do you suppose?
Let's do it again.
I'm bringing that to the floor.
Mr. Malik? And
Anybody want any explanations? I've got Timmy here if you want him to explain it. He just came back from Madison.
You want speaks for itself. Yeah, it's in second. Any questions or discussion on that resolution? $149 proposing interest rate reduction on tax delinquency property, and we'll have Dick bring that to the floor.
And I'll bring that to the floor.
Is there a second? Darrell seconds it. Any discussion on that? Anybody got any questions on it?
Naturally. Mr. Chair, I'd like to, could someone from the committee speak to this as far as why they are opposing? I'd like to hear their reasoning why they would choose to go against this.
Darrell, you want to expound on that?
I can. Supervisor Hermson, you'll recall we discussed this at some length at the goal-setting session, and I think all the reasons were articulated there. All the reasons are still the same. It, in addition to it being a loss of revenue for the county, it frankly puts us in the position of having those that pay their property taxes on time wind up subsidizing those that don't. If there's a reduction in the interest rate, it's a short-term solution, and frankly, there are a lot better alternatives for a person if they need some credit to pay their taxes to go to alternative sources than to have the county be the lender. And the county, if they don't collect the taxes, still needs to settle with the other taxing jurisdictions. So I do not think that it's at all in the interest of the county to make it easier for delinquent taxes not to be collected, because it puts us increasingly in a tenuous position.
Thank you, Board Chair. And I guess I'd like to air why I am opposed to this, to opposing the resolution, is that I've read what Assembly Bill 149 is. This reduction is time-based. It only goes through the to the end of 2010, for one. And for those that don't know, Wisconsin law allows counties to place a 1% penalty on unpaid taxes per month. They also have the addition of placing an additional 0.5% per month at the county's discretion. Now, hopefully somebody correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe we're not really charging 12% to these unpaid taxes. We're really charging 18%. Now,
Mr. Chairman, and this does not address penalties. This bill specifically addresses only the interest rate that it's charged, and it's reducing the interest rate from a 12% per annum to 6%.
Correct, but now am I to assume that the 0.5% is the penalty? Is that what? Is that correct in this?
This is purely the interest rate.
But the bill says that I'm trying to expand on what is behind interest and penalties. Okay. The resolution, as that, or the bill that they're coming out of this state assembly is explains in detail what that 0.5% versus 1% versus the additional 0.5% that counties are allowed to assess. Why I'm opposed to this, and this, as you recall, I brought this up at our last month's work session, was that I didn't believe that the county should have the ability to benefit from a person's misfortune. And I went back and added up the number of foreclosures that we've had just in the last 5 years in St. Croix County. And it came to a total of 2,140 homes. When I dug a little further into what was going on, I came up with a table for each municipality in St. Croix County. And that was really interesting to see where the delinquent taxes was taking place. By a large measure, on average, we're about 3% per municipality that's delinquent, except for 2, which I thought was kind of interesting. City of New Richmond is, in the number of parcels being 4,458, 626 are delinquent on taxes for 14%. And the other one that stuck out was the Village of Somerset of 1,431 parcels, being 215 are delinquent for 15.02%. So we have two specific areas in the county. Why I bring it up is that the bill was intended to try to reduce that 0.5% mandated by the state. So really, we have the ability to take this from 18% down to 12, which is, I believe my calculation comes out to about 60,000 per million not collected, that we have to hold. $60,000. And looking at 2,140 homes that haven't had that are under some severe stress due to, we're now at 10% of job loss, just what we have recorded in St. Croix County, and I believe that number is even far short because many people are laid off from jobs in Minnesota, and that's where they're collecting their unemployment benefits. So I believe the pressure and the number of people that are under distress right now is significant. 2,140 homes in 5 years, and when we add that up, that'd be the equivalent of putting all of the village of North Hudson and village of Roberts together, is saying none of them can pay taxes. Or I shouldn't say that they've gone through foreclosure. That's what that is. So I'm asking that we not oppose this reduction. $60,000 per million. And I was hoping when we had Cheryl up here that she would have said what our total is that we are unable to collect at this time. But it's really not that we can't collect it. We will get our money 3 years from now when we have the ability, if they still haven't paid, and like Cheryl said, we don't want property. But we will get our money back. I just think it's a little severe when we're getting it at 18%. And to counter, I guess, what Supervisor Stanifer said, where these people have the ability to go get other means of funding to pay those taxes, I would like to see the number of those that don't have the credit, can't borrow the money. They don't have a job, they have nothing to go on. So I just think when we look at the reason of where that number really comes from, why those taxes are so high, it's because this board, along with every other municipality in the county, are putting their budgets, are not controlling their budgets, and putting a severe burden on the taxpayer. And here we have a time where these people are under some severe stress, and we can't seem to find our way fit to even back off 0.5%. So that's, I guess, in a nutshell, while I'll say why I think we need to do this and not oppose this act coming out of Madison. Thank you.
Yes, Darrell. I just would respectfully need to disagree with my colleague that there's a direct correlation between the level of taxes and whether or not the taxes are delinquent. I don't think that is germane at all to what we're talking about here. This was considered at some length by Finance. It was passed unanimously by Finance with a recommendation that it be supported here, and I urge its passage and request that we vote.
The motion has been made and seconded, and all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same.
Aye.
Okay, let's have a show of hands. I can tell by the voices. All those in favor of the motion? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21 I get. 21, 4, and the balance again, 25, or 20, 21, 22, and 20, 23 if I vote. Yeah. So that's 23 of us are for this motion. There's that leaves us with about 6 that aren't. So, okay. The motion carries.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes.
Could I just ask what now happens with this resolution? To whom does it get forwarded?
To Governor.
And we will, the number 9 is resolution approving law enforcement services agreement between St. Croix County Sheriff and the town of Somerset, and I'll ask Julie to bring that to the floor.
I so move.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
I don't know who seconded it.
Who seconded?
John Bork. Yeah. Okay, you've heard a motion and a second to that resolution. All those in favor? Or any discussion? You have discussion, do you? Okay.
Does the sheriff's department have to hire extra help, or do they have help along the way to take on this contract, or what is the provision?
Dennis, you want to handle that?
Right now, what the town of Somerset would like is some limited, okay. The town of Somerset contacted me. They want some extra patrol. They eliminated their constable position. They have 2 areas where they would like some additional patrol. They want to hire our part-time people to do patrol up there. Right now, we pay our part-time $11.70 an hour. So that's a little less than half of what the charge will be, which is $25. We are going to increase that to $30 at the end of the year for the for part-time services. We currently have 15 part-time people that we budget for, and we'll be assigning them up there. They only want a couple hours now and then is what they want. The reason we have to do that is because they're park areas. They have their own town ordinances. And for us to enforce their town ordinance or their parking ordinance or their disorderly conduct, we have to have a contract with them to be able to do that. So that's why this resolution was brought forward.
Bill?
I was wondering if this was a seasonal thing or whether it's going to be year-round.
I suspect that it will be primarily seasonal during the summer because it's when the boat traffic is on to St. Croix. Primarily, that's when they have most of their complaints. Right now, when the town of Somerset has an issue, they'll call dispatch, and we send up full-time officers to take care of any issues or problems that they have there. With this contract, it'll allow us to be able to have part-time people up there for a period of time. It'll also allow full-time to issue a citation on the town ordinance if that's necessary. So,
any other discussion? Questions? If not, all those in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed say the same. The motion carries. Okay, at this time, then we'll ask Tom Boren to come forward and discuss IT things with us.
Good evening. Thanks for letting me on here tonight. And my name is Tom Boren. I'm the Director of Information Technology. And I'd like to go over a few things we've accomplished over the last year and some of our goals going forward. Thank you. Our mission statement, that is to provide the appropriate computer tools, communication resources, and technology services to county employees, enabling them to perform their services efficiently and economically. To do that, to execute that mission, we have a staff, a very dedicated staff of 7 people. They're the same 7 people that have been there since I came on 9 years ago. We have 1 programmer analyst, Annette Massey, who you've heard thanked a few times already tonight for the work she does. 5 information system analysts, which are staffed between here, New Richmond, and also part-time out in Baldwin. And then 1 very strange and dedicated help desk person, because I couldn't do that job for very long. But she loves her work, Janet Smith, and you may have talked to her as well. So the staff provides 24/7 on-call support to law enforcement in the nursing home. As you'll see, our staff has remained the same for the past 11 years. Even though our number of computers that we support has nearly doubled along with printers, and as I said, it's staff's very dedicated. We have had no turnover in those 9 years. County data centers are located here in Hudson and in Richmond. Here in Hudson, we support 24 physical servers, 14 virtuals, and we have an 18 terabyte SAN. The Richmond campus has 8 physical servers, 2 virtuals, and a 6 terabyte SAN, and we just have 2 servers out in the Baldwin location. Supported equipment, we have throughout the county about 500 computers, 413 desktops, 79 laptops, 277 printers, 20 plus scanners, PDAs, projectors, network switches, wireless access points, and thin clients as well. Even I get confused with the technology once in a while, forward, backward. How we support our county users, we have a centralized help desk, and again, that is staffed by Janet Smith. Last year we recorded and processed over 2,800 calls. 2008-2009 goals. Our goal in IT is to leverage technology to increase data accessibility, enhance security, keep cost in check, and improve disaster recovery. Last year and early part of this year, we were able to provide mobile access to the county network via high-speed cellular cards. These cards are used not only for some of the social workers out there, but they were also used in the squad cars to provide VPN connections to our network to allow data access, again, allows law enforcement to run license plates without having to contact dispatch. We tripled our internet bandwidth connection by bringing in Comcast Business Services, and we were able to do that and actually cut our costs by a third and tripling our bandwidth as well. Annette Massey, our programmer extraordinaire, matter of fact, she is great to have on staff. She developed 16 new tracking databases over the last year for various department applications. And she also created a daily CAD report, which is basically a report that comes out of dispatch, which gets sent to all the municipality PDs on a daily basis to let them know what went on in their municipality that night or that previous day. They said she gets a get out of jail free card for that one. So, the Wisconsin, last year we completed the Wisconsin Justice Information Sharing Project. This was a granted project that we was awarded a grant for. This puts our law enforcement database in the statewide network. So anyone committing a crime and getting in our record system now can be looked up from anywhere else in the state. So even though it may not be a felony record or anything like that, if there's a record of any sort in this county, it'll come up. It'll flag as that name being a hit here. We can also look elsewhere for other counties and the same way in this network. Our security, internally within the system, we installed a new security software called Sophos. This is an antivirus software, but it does more. That's why we went with this. It also controls applications, and it gives us port control over PCs. This was real important on our public workstations. We previously had no way to control people bringing in flash drives without basically taking the epoxy and actually gluing those drives shut. Through this software, we're now able to shut those ports off, and people cannot now plug that in. And actually, they used to be able to download images right to those flash drives and kind of skip the pay process. So this allowed us to alleviate that problem. Barracuda, we installed new Barracuda web and email filtering appliances. A lot of the people they are very familiar with this gentleman right here. This pops up whenever they try to go to a website that is not allowed through this appliance. We've been working through growing pains. There are some applications and some people that need access to certain sites that aren't normally accessible, as the investigators downstairs. Marie, who was on earlier for 4-H, she uses Facebook a lot to contact with her young young kids, not normally an open site here in the county, but because of her communication with all the youngsters, and that is their main primary way of communicating, we've had to make exceptions to those rules. But these appliances allow us to make those exceptions on a user account basis. A Links alert notification software. This has been installed and almost functional. We're still working with the state to try to get the clerk of court's office working, but it's functional throughout the rest of the campuses in Richmond, Baldwin, and here. This is a two-phase notification thing. You're able to send alerts. It's a panic button alert system from your desktop. If you sense trouble, whatnot, you can press this, and it allows you to see. Here you can type in a message, or you can just send. Now you can type a message of what's going on. If you have an armed intruder, or whatnot, and you can get to your desktop, but you can't get on a phone and call, you can send a message, and this goes right to 911, and then 911 can dispatch the needed, do the needed response, or dispatch can just send out other kind of alerts like tornado. Like on the sample over here, we have the National Weather Service alert, and that can come up and pop up on everybody's computer. This alert again goes over the top of whatever you're working on, so it's very very visible. Keeping to cost in checks. That's very a big challenge, especially with budget cycles nowadays, and this next year is not going to be any different. Server virtualization is one way we've been able to do that. We're now able to carve 4 servers out of normally, which used to be 1 server. We have to buy a bigger server, but it's cheaper to buy a bigger server and then carve servers out of that than it is to buy individual units. Thin client utilization. This year was our first experience with that, and that's gone really well. The nursing home, because of the we've put off updating a lot of the equipment at the nursing home for a few years because we didn't know which way we were going with that, and now that the decision was made to continue on to this and stay in the process, we purchased these thin client units. They're about half the price of a normal PC. The thin client just controls basically the I/O from the station, but all the processing is done back on the server. These things use a lot less power, are again about half the cost, and have a lot longer life. So they should be around there for quite some time. Open Office. This is another thing that we've actually tied in with the thin client device. Open Office is a free version of Office that'll actually work and open any Microsoft Office version. We're using it up in Richmond on those thin client devices, and it is working well. So we are looking into expanding that further. There will be some difficulties with compatibility issues, but we're again with the budget with budget dollars and things as tight as they are. I think this is a free version where Microsoft Office costs about $300 per copy. So there's a substantial savings there if we can go this direction. Improved disaster recovery. This is we use a distributed file system, and we continue to do so. Because of our multiple campus layout, we're able to take user files and replicate them across the campuses. So New Richmond files get replicated down here. Hudson files get replicated up to New Richmond in case we were to lose a facility. Same thing with Baldwin. Baldwin's get replicated over to New Richmond. That works we use that replication. That only works for user files. Databases, we can't use DFS for. So for databases, we use what's called remote backup now. We set up that service last year. It's actually, we use a service called Digitality out of Twin Cities. They come in, they take a copy of our databases, they take that back and put it on their encrypted server, and then nightly, any changes to that database gets backed up via the internet over an encrypted connection. We've tested a restore time. Normally would take us probably 6 to 8 hours to restore a database via tape. We're able to get back up and running in about 20 minutes. Looking forward, New products, as if things always change. So, and you may have already heard, Windows 7 is right around the corner. We installed a few Windows Vista clients out there. Weren't overly impressed, and because they didn't really give us a lot more functionality than what was XP. Windows has expanded. I understand the lifespan of XP now out to like 2012. They were going to cut off support for that earlier this year, but they found not a lot of people making that switch over to Vista, so they've granted that to go out longer. But anyway, we'll be taking a look at Windows 7 to see what advantages that has. Windows Server 2008 is out. We actually have one of those installed at this time. Microsoft Exchange 2007 and Office Communications Server. This was actually in the budget last year that was cut. This is a great communication tool for those people with cell phones and with county cell phones and email accounts, as you're able to not only pick up your email with your cell phone, you can actually have your cell phone actually call into your email box and have them read back your mail. Very, very powerful. Lots of uses to that. Time and attendance software. Law enforcement, we are actually in the testing stage right now for getting law enforcement on a time and attendance system for their equalized pay. Also come to mind, we've just recently learned that the time and attendance system at the nursing home is end of life here before the end of this year. So we'll be needing to look at a replacement for the nursing home, either an upgrade back on the Chronos time system or moving on to something else. And then policy review and update. Email archiving, a very hot topic right now, and a tough one. I just came back from a conference where we met with the people from the state, where we were supposed to get our direction from as far as how we are to archive. They had no answer for us. Greg Timmerman also has returned and has no definitive answer. I will be getting together with Corp Counsel. He has what he deems to be a best plan scenario to move forward. It looks like we will be leaning towards cutting off our emails at about 60 days and archiving those and not retaining anything more than that. Questions? Steve?
Imagine that. I'm just curious on the, you mentioned you're going to Microsoft 7 on the OS. Have you guys, how much energy have you guys put into looking at alternative OSs as far as, and open source software type of things like that?
We have actually looked at Ubuntu. We have looked at that. We have had a few issues compatibility-wise, and mainly it's in our remote control viewer software. We're unable to get the remote control software to work. Basically, it's accepting the password. But again, we've put some energy towards it. I know there's some possibilities there as well. But again, our staff is limited. We don't have a lot of time to just sit and play with these things. So. And we haven't decided to go to Windows 7. We'll look at that, but that's one of those things we'll just explore.
Oh, that's where I was going. I was wondering if you've looked at the costs of from the Microsoft side as far as and all the other apps. And I realize a lot of people, it's very tough to move away from something that is as large as that is. But I was just curious. So thanks.
I was wondering if I understood you correctly that the clerk of court's office was having a problem with Lynx, the security software?
That's correct, Bill. It's just it's an interface because we're crossing networks. The clerk of court is on the state system. They have to allow this basically this panic alert through their system to hop over onto ours, and then also the information from dispatch or the warning alerts to come from our network into their network. And it's just a handshaking thing between the two networks, and it's just a matter of getting that together. I'm sure they'll get that worked out. Thank you.
I'll bring that to the floor, and our Transportation Committee all voted yes on that.
Is there a second to that? Charlie seconded it, okay? Any discussion, any questions on that? Yes, Bill?
I was just wondering why Hudson was omitted at the, oh, I'm sorry. I was wondering why Hudson was omitted in the last line of the first page. It says Chippewa Falls, Eau Claire, and Menominee, but I-94 goes through Hudson, and it seems to me that Hudson should be there too.
These are counties.
No.
No.
These are the cities of Chippewa Falls, Eau Claire.
Roger.
Pardon me?
Let Chuck could answer that.
There's no intended slight against the city of Hudson. Haven't been able to have a dialogue with some of the staff over there on it, but I've had some informal discussions, and they are interested, but I haven't been able to get anything formally. I would suspect that they will be interested. There are others interested in Hudson's position that I've talked to, so I think that's just a matter of time. And protocol issue, I just didn't have it in there.
If the administrator's coordinator, and I'm assuming that's Chuck, is allowed to enter into an agreement and then to authorize, will the board see anything that will we have the ability to review, vote before we enter into that agreement?
Yes, I actually asked Greg this earlier today because I began to read it and wonder the same thing. The way this is supposed to go is that the very reason for having a resolution come to the board is that aside from people like me working with my peers in other counties, we really need to bring the policy people into this discussion, being the Highway Committee, the County Board, and that will continue. I think the only thing I'm actually authorized to sign is things that will move in towards having an agreement, and I wouldn't see doing that without going through the committee and the board. In talking with the other administrators between the counties, we're viewing this as a first step in a two-level type of discussion. The communities over in Minnesota have already formed a joint powers agreement, which is far more formal. But because we haven't been able to date, and today is the first day of getting in front of you and the committees, we're kind of working at a level where we want to, as hired people, know that the policymakers understand, are involved, and are supportive of what's going on for the next step, which is to probably have more discussion with the committees, the transportation committees, and then have some inter-county discussions, which I think will then lead to something that gets drafted for all these entities to join for later. So I would suspect that something would come. No money at this point. One would have to assume at some point down the road that would be an issue, whether it's money that's generated from the county or available to us from other sources. And I believe that's the main hook in this is attempting to get some interest at the federal level even and catch up with what's been going on the west side of the river.
More seriously, has the state been acting to try to get people together to do this actively, or is it primarily a local initiative here in western Wisconsin?
Tim can come up and talk a little bit about this, but these things start at our level. There are other regions within the state that are, I believe, in current legislation that are being looked at as regional transit authorities, which is a statutory thing that we're not at yet. But from a regional standpoint, we're actually fairly well connected, and maybe Tim can just talk to some of the conversations he had recently.
Thanks, Chuck. I had gone to a couple conferences, and the state put them on. And there were free conferences, and some of the things that's happening around the state, there's 12 counties right now that have this mobility manager, which highways is used to. We're structured to move vehicles, and this is more of moving people. And so there's a disconnect there that we want to bring together, and not, I didn't feel it was my forte to move forward, but it is the transportation committee. So then that's when I got a hold of Chuck, and I thought, well, this is where maybe he could be the glue that holds it together, because we're going to be looking at all these other entities. You got up in Richmond, the Office on Aging. You know, they got the buses. I don't have buses, and the mobility managers around that we've spoken to talked about how difficult it was in a county to do it. And since we've got a lot of requests from Minnesota to start hooking up and partner up in a lot of these things, if we can break that seal to cross the river and get a bus over here, things like that have started to converse. And the Transportation Committee and I had been talking about transit, and I think this maybe even expands it a bit more based on the conversation Chuck was having with Minnesota. So together we teamed up and looked at that. But the state is trying to help with this. Their rules we feel is backwards. They look down and say it is the county's responsibility to contract with buses and all these other things, and we're looking up and saying, well, that's like herding cats. Who are we going to do that with? So this is to try to bring the two together, because it doesn't function to us practical people when you look down from the statewide, and that's what we were looking at the seminar. Says, yeah, you're looking at us telling us to contract, but we don't have a glue to do it with. So that's where we came together from my perspective.
What he said. No, actually, there are so many transit and transportation issues, and we talked a little bit about this at the goal setting on the 24th, but regional rail, the high-speed rail, certainly there are groups in this region that are working on these things right now. Certainly we're familiar with roads and bridges and so forth. Tim touched on the internal transit systems, and we actually have a number of them ourselves. I'm going to bet that's this. And we actually have a staff person in UW Extension who has had some experience working on coordinating these kind of systems, such as what we have in the county already when she was in Washington County. So we actually have some good people positioned. Dan Federley, who was Tim's predecessor out at Highway, is currently the executive director of the Wisconsin County Highway Association. Tim's counterpart over in Chippewa is also on the board. Coupled with the fact that we'd be in a position regionally working with another state would make us attractive for attention at a much higher governmental level.
Going to be on your agenda, I would like to come and watch.
Services assistant in the victim witness program. And Darrell, would you bring that to the floor?
Mr. Chairman, I move approval of the resolution, and assuming a second, I would request that D.A. Johnson come forward and address the issue.
If you would touch on that, Rick, we'd appreciate it.
Thank you. 3 out of the last 4 years, we've requested through the budget process another victim witness person. I think the stats that we've indicated here indicates the need that we've had, and then when we had the 4th judge, that's created significant problems. Right now we have 3. We need 4. Like I said, we've got a fairly significant problem, staffing problem there. Obviously, with the county situation, we weren't successful getting those fundings. Like I said, the last 3 requests we had. I think it was in January, we received word from the state that they had approved a position for St. Croix County, which is pretty unusual. These positions are partially funded by the state, partially funded by the county, and which was felt like it's been a number of years before the state has approved new positions, and the state's cost on this has gone from 50% up to 90%. When we first started back in '85, I believe the reimbursement rate was about 90% from the state. Now it's about 50%. So the state said, yes, we approve. We'll pay the portion, whether it's 50%, 60%, whatever. We'll pay the state's portion. That left. We realized then that the county had. Was not going to pay the remaining amount, so we've looked at the grant areas here to pay for the county's share. There are 2 grants that we've secured. One is, I believe it's the Edward Byrne grant. Is that right, Chuck? That's the one that the county's getting for about $25,000. I've talked to the sheriff. It's a law enforcement grant. The sheriff has other areas that he's looking at, so we've applied for that. We've gone through the process for that $25,000. And if you look at the information we've handed out, there's a narrative there for the budget. We're looking for this position to start July 1st, so that grant would cover the county's share from July 1st to December 31st. After December 31st, starting January 1st of 2010, there's another grant that we've secured, and this is actually it's basically a COPS grant is where it comes from. It's a federal grant. It comes from out of the Department of Justice. That grant amount is for $60,000, and so our plan is to use this Byrne grant to cover from July 1st to January 1st. And then in 2010 and 2011, we would use that $60,000 to cover the county's share for those 2 years. And then the state would cover the other portion of it. So basically, like I said, the goal on this was to not use county monies. We've been able to do that, and then in 2012, I think we've hopefully demonstrated a need, and we'll be coming and making a request to make that, unless we secure other sources of funding. But I'm trying to make it as, I know it's kind of late. I'm trying to make it as direct as possible. The bottom line is it's not going to involve county money. The grant money has been secured through these other federal sources. The other thing is that we need to act on this. The state money, I believe, started January 1st. Is that right, Ann? So that's money that January 1st of 2009 that we were eligible for. So if we don't act on this, that's why we're projecting July 1st. If we don't act on this, that we're concerned that they might direct that money to another county, and we would lose that. So basically, like I said, it's a little confusing because we're looking at 3 different sources of funding, 2 grants in the state. The bottom line is that the county is not going to be paying for it, and there is a significant need for the position. Yeah.
I was just wondering, is the Edward Byrne grant in hand?
That's the money that was,
The 6 months period.
right. We've applied, St. Croix County was allocated $25,000 for that. We've applied through that online, and we'll be getting that.
That has been approved.
Right. I think Milwaukee each county was allocated a certain amount of money for law enforcement purposes. I think Milwaukee's about $5 million, something like that. So St. Croix County got $25,000. And the other grant we learned 2 weeks ago, so we're in the process of applying for that also. We have that approved. That was actually an earmark grant in the last federal budget. So the money's been approved from all the sources. We're applying for it, but the money's directed towards us. So, yeah, Buzz?
Thank you, Eric. I just have a question of protocol. You've indicated earlier and you confirmed just now that these monies are in hand, and yet the last resolution on which we are going to vote tonight is for the board to approve and give authorization for application of that grant. That's a non sequitur. I wonder if you could...
Sure.
And then my second concern is, shouldn't we then be voting on that 12th resolution first before we discuss applying that to the Victim Witness Assistance Program?
One of the requirements for that burn grant is that there be public comment. And so, in other words, if people from the community want to comment on it, that's why that was put on there. Now, the order, I don't know about the order of it, but that's why that approval was needed. So
we haven't passed this resolution yet.
Right.
And you're speaking as if it's a done deal.
No, I'm just. I mean, I understand. I understand the order the way they're here, but they go hand in hand. I mean, if you're not going to, in order for not to be county money, it's got to be federal grant money. Does that am I making sense on that? No? Okay. Okay. I don't know about the order. I mean, the order probably should have been the other way around, but.
That's not my main point.
Right.
My main point is, you're telling us that you're acting as if this money has been received, and you agree that.
Buzz, could you turn on your microphone, please?
You're speaking as if this $25,000 is money in hand, and it sounds like it is, in as much as it's an allocation. But as a matter of protocol, this board has not voted on the resolution that authorizes the acquisition of that money. That's my main point.
I see. Okay.
Any other questions? Steve?
Thanks. Mr. Johnson, is anywhere in here, does this position sunset in the event that grant money is no longer available? Was that in there, or did I miss that?
The finance discussed that. I believe that is in there. Now, like I said,
which one is it?
Right.
Oh, there it is. I'm sorry. As long as. Okay. Thanks.
Right. Now, like I said, I'm not going to, in 2012, 2.5 years from now, I'll be coming back, and hopefully we have other sources of funding. But we'll be asking, all likelihood that it become a county position. Again, that would be half funded by the state. Not even half. I mean, it depends on the allocation. It used to be 90%, and it's that number has varied with the state. So, but yeah, that was a discussion we had with finance, I believe.
Mr. Chairman, I respectfully ask that we suspend discussion of item 11, go to item 12, and once that has been resolved, then come back to item 11.
Alfie, you had a question.
Here it says we only get 19,000.
The county's allocation is $25,003, correct? And we've applied for that entire amount. So, looking for that. And do you know why that says, was that the original amount? What was that? Right. We have, we need, there's a computer that we're going to need, there's a desk, there's other items that we need that'll fill out, that'll take us to $25,000. So that's why that was. The total amount is $25,003, so that's why that's there. Thanks, Alfie. Yeah.
I see that.
Yeah.
Okay, relative to the order that these resolutions are in, I'm going to defer to Chuck. Chuck, would you explain, or not Chuck, Greg, would you explain the, not to change them?
Has that happened before, Greg?
We've been confused all the time. But I think the order is just fine because the present resolution says that the position can't come into existence unless it's funded by non-county sources anyway. So if you don't pass the next or adopt the next resolution, the position doesn't come into existence anyway.
Okay, so with that in mind, let's vote on resolution number 11, and that is the new position. You have a motion and a second on the floor. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, the same. Aye. Okay, it carries. Now we'll go to number 12. Darrell, will you bring that to the floor?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Is there a second? Esther makes a seconds that motion. Okay. For the resolution. That's the one where the application for the Edward Byrne Memorial Justice Assistance Grant. Any more discussion on that? Because we're almost 100% sure of getting it, right?
The money's been allocated towards St. Croix County.
Then we're getting it.
Right.
Okay, so we know it's coming. All those, you've heard the motion in a second. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, the same. Carries. Done. Okay.
Good. Thank you.
Okay, the last committee report is Clark Schrader, and he is with St. Croix Industries at the Health and Human Services, and he's going to put on his program here for the next few minutes.
Like I said, I'm Clark Schroeder. I'm the director for St. Croix Industries up at the Nourishment Campus. We've been in existence for 35 years. You're all welcome to come up on October 22nd. We're going to be having an open house to celebrate from 1 to 7 p.m. so all the parents and guardians can come and visit and see our program. I'll be brief today because I have a 16-minute video that's on Channel 15 here, Local Access Program. Thanks to Dave Osnes, who helped us get that going. We had gentleman, Chris Larson, come up and take video of our staff and our clients, and he edited it all together and put a 16-minute video together that's been airing. We have split that up into 2 sections, and we put it on YouTube so that the parents and guardians of our clients can also see it. It's very self-explanatory. I encourage all of you to pay attention to this because I know it's a little longer than normal, but it's very entertaining, and I think you'll enjoy it. It's something that I'm really proud of. You know, the program I'm proud of. The clients are very proud of what they do. And I think as board members, you guys should be proud of this because this program is your program also. You guys and your predecessors have funded this program and kept this program as part of St. Croix County's mission for the past 35 years. And I think you all should be handed congratulations for supporting this program. So with that, I think I'll just let the program speak for itself, and then I'll answer questions afterwards.
St. Croix Industries is entering its 35th year of helping St. Croix County residents with developmental disabilities. The goal is to help them achieve their highest level of personal, social, and vocational functioning.
We're a community-based rehab facility where we take adults ages 18 to 65 who are developmentally disabled, and we provide them opportunities to work either in the community or in our workshop itself, or have activities or life skills training to further their development.
Obviously, we work with all kinds of disabilities. We work primarily with people with developmental disabilities. We have some people here with physical disabilities, ranges of disabilities. We work with all different ability levels, from IQs to 20 to 30 up to 75. We work with people with cerebral palsy. We work with people with Down syndrome, autism spectrum disorders, brain injury. We work with the people with an array of disabilities.
The organization gives developmentally disabled people an opportunity to work and earn a paycheck. These jobs build confidence and allow them to participate in the community.
Real work for real pay. They're actually getting paid on a piece rate basis. So we do time studies. So some of our individuals who are severely handicapped maybe only earn 50 cents an hour. We have other individuals who earn $8 or $10 an hour based on their handicap and what the job is. They also get socialization. This is a community here. People love coming to work here. This is where their friends are. These are where people they graduated from high school with are. You find boyfriends and girlfriends here, so it's a very social environment. They enjoy coming here.
St. Croix Industries offers 3 different programs: work services, supported employment services, and day program services.
Well, we have 3 main programs. One program is called the Work Services Program. And in that program, our individuals come in on a daily basis and they do labor-intensive operations for companies within St. Croix County. They do packaging, assembly, kitting, heat sealing, shrink wrapping type jobs. We basically try to specialize in doing repetitive operations that save companies labor.
Those in the Work Services Program are employed in New Richmond. There are several different job duties, including packaging and mailing services. According to Schroeder, using St. Croix Industries is a more efficient way to expedite work. This philosophy has convinced a wide range of business owners to partner with the program.
We have high quality, quick turnaround. It saves their employees for skilled labor. So it saves them money. Instead of having somebody at a really high shop rate working on a simple job, have us have a lower shop rate work on that simple job and save their higher level employees for that job. It's just more efficient.
Michael Van Someren has worked for St. Croix Industries for 6 years.
I have spinal bifida, like where the spine doesn't go completely straight. So I've had it since I was born.
He puts in 4 days a week and enjoys the variety of projects he works on.
I do a lot of different things. Like this job, I'm putting CDs in a folder, like four CDs, and then I pass it on, and then he does the rest of it, and then we ship them off to different companies, I guess.
Of course, Michael enjoys the monetary rewards as well.
Yeah, I like making money. I make pretty good money here. So,
what types of things do you use your money on?
Like clothes and movies, and music, and magazines and books and stuff.
Tony Geving could also be classified as a St. Croix Industries veteran. He's worked at the facility for 7 years.
I've been blind all my life, but it's just something I'm used to, and I tell myself, you just gotta relax and stuff. I kind of coach myself, tell myself, I just gotta calm down, not have so much fear, because there's other people around to help me and stuff too, and there's other people that are like me in this world too. I tell myself.
Tony is thankful for the opportunity to work.
I just like coming here and having something to do and something to occupy my mind and keep me busy and stuff. It's kind of better than sitting home all the time and
I guess it's something to keep me going throughout the day and stuff, and meet new people. And it's just nice to be around a lot of friendly faces and stuff. And it's pretty cool. It's nice to have money to be able to do stuff that I want to do and stuff. And, I mean, it's not much, but at least it's something to kind of have a little change in my pocket. I like to, go to movies or something, or go to eat, or it's just kind of nice to work for a little something and stuff, and make it worthwhile. And plus, I like to go to eat sometimes. The Supported Employment Services Program matches people to full-time and part-time jobs within the community. Everyone in the program begins with an assessment that measures their abilities and goals to find the best placement.
I have to get to know the individual and know where their strengths are, where their weaknesses are, what their interests are, and then I try to match their skills with an employer. And it's going in and meeting with the employer, discussing what the individual's abilities are, and looking at job descriptions, seeing if they can perform the essential functions of the job. If they can't, trying to figure out if we can develop a new job description. It's called job carving or job customization, and we come to an agreement on a new job description, and based on the individual's abilities, I write a job description, and we get them placed, and they get the supports and coaching until they learn the job from a job coach.
Progress is monitored to ensure both employee and employer are satisfied.
We start from square one with them. We come in on their very first day and we work with them. As long as they need assistance, they have us there. And when they learn a specific part of the job and they're good at it, we'll fade out. So we might not be standing next to them 100% of the time, but we're there supporting them, reminding them what the next step is, things like that. It's whatever it takes. We help them with the break room, socialization skills, where to punch out, where not, where the restrooms are, how to manipulate the environment that they're in.
Karen Langfelt works for Angel's Pet World in Hudson. She's been in the program for 5 years, all 5 of them at Angel's Pet World.
St. Croix Industries, they helped me get a job out in the community when I needed it, and I've learned a lot from, helping people, and just help doing other different stuff than, doing the same thing day in and day out. I've learned a lot more stuff.
Karen's favorite part of the job is interacting with animals.
It's fun. I like working with animals.
Karen loves her job, and the store owner is proud to have her on the payroll.
The 5 years that Karen's been with us, she's probably one of the most loyal and most, I would say, dedicated employees that we have. We never have to worry about her showing up to work. She volunteers almost every holiday to come in, including Christmas Eve. She knows her job, and if she doesn't know something, she come and asks and get help. So I believe I couldn't ask for a better employee.
Angel and St. Croix Industries job coaches have witnessed incredible personal growth for Karen since she started the program.
Karen, when she first came, quiet and shy and afraid to, really go beyond the scope of what she was, what the job coaches had come in and taught her. She now interacts with everybody, with all the employees. Some have become really good friends of hers. The knowledge, too, of, where the stuff is in the store, the knowledge of the animals. She probably has some more knowledge than some of our regular part-time employees because she takes care of them every day.
Just like any other employer-employee relationship, there are disagreements, but support from St. Croix Industries keeps everybody on the same page.
There's a job coach that comes in and checks up on Karen at least a couple times a week. If there's any problem, we call Sonia. They're in right away to help us with Karen. We try to approach Karen first, but sometimes, we don't want to upset her or go the wrong way of doing it and make her go backwards. So we always get Sonia or a job coach involved, and we all sit down and we go from there.
Robert Radke is beginning his 4th year with St. Croix Industries and County Market.
Bob works primarily stocking our candy that we get twice a week, Tuesdays and Fridays, as well as our baking nuts.
And it's a need that we have to have, or it's a nice job for him to fill the candy, stock it depending on which vendor it comes in from, make sure it's straight, checking dates on it, so we're rotating products so it's the fresh stuff is available to customers, as well as he has fun just talking to. He's got some regular customers that stop in here and we'll talk to him they know when he's working on Tuesdays and Fridays. They want to see him. And so he's added a nice touch to our work crew.
When shipments of candy come in from our truck, I help unload it onto the shelves. If the candy doesn't show up for some reason, I straighten it on the shelf, make it look presentable.
Work is therapeutic for Robert as well. After suffering a catastrophic motorcycle accident, he needed to relearn several basic functions that many people take for granted.
I always needed assistance because it's so wobbly. I always had to be hanging on to something. I only could last, say, 40 minutes because I'd get so tired out. But nowadays, they drop me off and leave me alone. But when I first started, it wasn't enjoyable at all. It wasn't fun. I would have to use my walker a lot, but I really enjoy it now. I'm having fun. I love my boss a lot. Again, I've got some of my best friends here. I'm happy.
Since his first days on the job, Robert has become stronger and more confident.
I like it a lot. The people seem friendly. I have excellent job coaches. I love it. I'm happy.
County Market is happy too. They have participated in the program for several years.
It's a nice way for us to put people in the workplace, give them an opportunity to try something new, earn some money, but also be out with the regular public. Occasionally we have people stop by, so we really like to have that. You have the special needs people in here helping you out. They bring an extra bonus to their shopping experience to see somebody that has a job that's working and is willing to work.
According to Olson, the constant support of St. Croix Industries is what makes the program work.
After the trial period and the coaches are here, there's a continuous contact with St. Croix Industries where they're in here probably once a week. A coach is coming in, checking in, and if there's any issues that we have, we can go to them, talk to them about it. But generally, everything's good. We've had these clients in here for 5+ years, some of them, so they've really worked out well. But it's nice to have that continued cooperation with St. Croix Industries, so they're touching base, and if there's any needs we have to address, we deal with it. And they do assessments from time to time, see how they're doing, and it's important that they know that they're doing a good job.
Another program within St. Croix Industries is Day Services. This program offers structured and unstructured activities for people with a wide range of ages, abilities, and needs.
The Day Services program was started in 1984 as the community-based day program. It was started due to the fact that the state of Wisconsin was relocating individuals out of nursing homes, individuals with disabilities out of nursing homes into the community, and those people needed something to do during the day rather than just stay at their residence all day long. So in 1984, St. Croix Industries developed its first community-based day program. Primarily in that program were senior citizens or older adults with disabilities who had resided either in nursing homes or institutions.
The Day Services program focuses on 5 main areas of emphasis, including socialization, community awareness, recreation opportunities, life skills, and pre-vocational skills. This is done through a range of activities, including games and crafts.
The routine of the Day Services program is usually people will come in and they'll do some daily exercises. Then they will do some table games or some puzzles. They also have a work component, a work activity component. So if there are individuals that are interested in work but may not have the skill level to work in the work services program, they could start doing some work activities in the day program.
St. Croix Industries serves the developmentally disabled population as well as businesses in a mutually beneficial partnership. It's an organization that is time-tested and poised to continue its success.
Certainly. For this year, for 2009, St. Croix Industries has 0 county tax levy dollars going towards it. So it's 100% funded by Community Health Partners, which is the local CMO, which is taking over the long-term care management, or other private pay, IRS accounts, or other counties that we have individuals in. The good thing about St. Croix County that I think is a shining star for the state of Wisconsin is we took the long-term care support staff, they went to the ADRC, and they shepherd our people through tests, basically a skills test to say, do you qualify for services? And they knew these people, forever. And so they knew how to get them into there. And we basically shepherd everybody but 1 or 2 people into long-term care management. And so they've done very well when I compare myself to other counties around the state where they, some people have fallen through the cracks due to the staff not knowing the individuals and their disability.
So what you're saying is you think that the not only that the transition went well, but the CMO is doing a good job. Is that correct?
Well, the money flows from the state to the CMO. The CMO provides medical, residential, day programming such as us. They're collecting the dollars that the county used to collect. The county used to collect all these myriad of alphabet soup funding, KIP and COP and brain trauma and all these things. And so all that alphabet goes to the state, and the state doles it out to the CMOs. Now, as you're well aware of, the county continues to put, $2.2 million a year in, and over the next 5 years, we're going to be buying down what we stick into the state down to $337,000. So there'll be a substantial savings in the years coming for St. Croix County. The problem I see, obviously, is the state's going to hit these budgets, and as the counties are going through and diminishing their monies to the state's going to have to, pick the ball up. It'd be, what will the future hold? I don't really know. I mean, if the CMOs can't make money and can't break even, somebody's going to have to step up to the plate, and the state so far has said they are going to step up to the plate and do this. And I guess we're going to be, as an agency in the state with other day programming and sheltered workshops, we're going to be pushing them to say, you need to step up to the plate and continue what you've started and not drop it. So.
Okay, thanks much, Clark.
Thank you for your time.
The county clerk's report and on correspondence and announcements. You have none?
I have no correspondence or rezonings.
Okay. Yes.
Did we do that rezoning
For who?
Yeah,
For Shatner? Sure. Yeah, it was in the consent agenda. John.
Monday, the 25th of May, is Memorial Day, and I would hope that many of the members would, supervisors would consider memorial services in the county or in the area they would go to.
Okay, thank you much. Ken, you were going to read something on the emergency management medical services, because we're in that week this week.
Do you have one up there, or do I need to print the one off, or the one that I
No, bring the one you got. I don't have one here.
First off, I'd like to thank you, Mr. Chairman, for letting me have the chance to read this. And the second part is I'd like to let the people know that Baldwin has just been given a provisional license to upgrade to paramedic. It started actually last month. So Baldwin Ambulance will now be becoming paramedic service as they complete their classes. And what the chairman has asked me to be able to read is proclamation for EMS Week. To designate the week of May 17th to May 23rd 2009 as Emergency Medical Services Week. Whereas Emergency Medical Services is a vital public service, and whereas the members of Emergency Services team are ready to provide life-saving services for those in need 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And whereas the accessibility of quality emergency care dramatically improves the survival and the recovery rate of those who experience sudden illness or injury. And whereas the emergency medical service system consists of emergency physicians, emergency nurses, emergency medical technicians, paramedics, firefighters, educators, administrators, and others. And whereas the members of the emergency medical services team, whether career or volunteer, engage in thousands of hours of specialized training and continuing education to enhance their life-saving skills. And whereas it is appropriate to recognize the value and the accomplishments of emergency medical service providers by designating Emergency Medical Services Week. Now, therefore, Roger Rebholz, St. Croix County Board Chair, in recognition of this event, do hereby proclaim that the week of May 17th through the 23rd, 2009 as Emergency Medical Services Week. With the theme, EMS, a proud partner in your community, I encourage the community to observe this week with appropriate programs, ceremonies, and activities. And I thank you.
Thanks, Ken. Thank you much, Ken. Thank you. Anything else to come before the group tonight? The meeting is adjourned. Adjourned.